18-year-old Mary Latham and 29-year-old James Britton were both hanged to death in 1644 for adultery. Their case proves to be the only known execution sentence for the crime of adultery in the United States. Mary Latham was just a young girl of 17 when she fell in love with a man who did not return her affections. Fueled by heartbreak and youthful recklessness, the teenage girl spitefully vowed to marry the first man who proposed to her against the counsel of friends. This man was 35-year-old William Latham, who had previously worked as a servant, was financially poor, and had already encountered a few brushes with the law. This marriage was a disaster from the start. According to Governor John Winthrop, who wrote of the case in his personal diary, William was an ancient man who had neither honesty nor ability, and one whom she had no affection unto. He further stated, it was reported also that she did frequently abuse her husband, setting a knife to his breast and threatening to kill him, calling him old rogue and cuckold, and said she would make him wear horns as big as a bull. It wasn't long before Mary sought solace outside of the marriage and began sleeping with numerous men from the colony. These men plied Mary with gifts and wine, venturing out into all hours of the night together. Things fell apart, however, when Mary began sleeping with 29-year-old James Britton. James was newly arrived from England and working as a professor at the time. Unlike Mary, James was not a Puritan and did not agree with the Puritan ideals of the time period. The two quickly began sleeping together, but when James suddenly fell ill not long afterwards, he assumed it was a punishment from God and publicly confessed to the affair. Mary and James were both subsequently arrested and tried for adultery. Mary was found guilty and, upon the verdict, confessed to sleeping with at least 12 other men from the area, some of which were married themselves. 5 of the men were arrested, but with no other proof of guilt other than Mary's word against theirs. They were all eventually released. Mary showed great penitence for her actions and was willing to die for her sins. James, however, petitioned the court for his life, but was denied. Both James and Mary were hanged to death on March 21, 1644 in Boston, Massachusetts, the only known case of execution for adultery in America. William Latham, Mary's husband, eventually left the area to start a new colony in the Bahamas, but eventually starved to death when the colony fell apart.